Oh, I'm doing a lot of videos. A lot of the stories you see me talk about, I could link all those and post them like to a post. But I, no, you know, my friend Albert, when you have officers that have threatened to do a lot of things at over times to the guys, then one of them died one time in his cop car, and witnesses said he choked him. That was in front of Paris Apartments. But you have this entire history where some of the guys were told they would be killed. Then later, the witnesses said supposedly he was choking them, that you're going to kill me, and then he died in the back of that vehicle. This might have been years ago. But I used to hear the story, and that was ruled, according to what they said, they ruled he died of asthma. Because that was like everybody at that time said, they just getting away with that, John. Now, I myself was not familiar with that person who died, but it was someone from here. A lot of the interactions that the guys would tell me about over the years obviously were concerning to me. And I used to question, like, Albert, my friend Albert. An officer told him, if you do not disappear, I will make you disappear. Now, with the history of people finding body parts out of here over the years, things you shouldn't, and of course that was just considered, he said it in front of many witnesses. And when I heard all this over the years, I thought, look, that stuff does not fly in a normal community. In a normal department, all that stuff is not standard procedure. But in this Corpus department, it is. And then altercations where people were assaulted, and they had groups of guys supposedly that would go out and just commit assaults. And look, a lot of that for many years, because I've been with these guys for many years on the streets, and I thought, and it's not just a matter of, it's a matter of people in authority often cannot. I would rate. I'll do the rating because I read a lot of stats. I would say for the size of the city, and you look at statistics, we had a bunch of drive-bys again taking place. I did my walk, just came to my mind, and I got another spot now where I walk. But it's a nice area. It's also by the water, and I just started walking it the last 2 days. Meaning I walked it yesterday, and there was no evidence of all types of crimes. But today there was. Meaning, I walked yesterday, nice water spot. Today, somebody had robbed a one of like the parking meter thing, something like a parking meter thing, but it was from a car wash. Obviously, it was robbed because it was sitting right there, and this is right off the highway, but it was sitting right there in the boat lot. Meaning, they busted into it to get the coins out of it, and I looked at it. I thought I could do a video of it. And that area, which is an expensive area, meaning it's by Padre Island, and there's a lot of boats and all, boat slips, and I walk by. But people were complaining because they'll just park their boat slips out there. Their boats, then they'll go out, and as soon as they park, people come right in broad daylight. Armed robberies, taking coolers out. I would rank Corpus Christi. We have the national ranking. The national ranking is Nueces County, which is Corpus Christi, is the second most corrupt city in the United States. I'm going to give you the ranking. I would say it's number one. And I have familiarity with the police in Kingsville, and as well as growing up as a young kid in New Jersey, because my dad was a fire captain for a fire department. But I would say I would rank Corpus Christi the number one dangerous city because of a lot of the stuff I've seen. And I used to think, am I just seeing that? And then I read those other national rankings about 6 years ago. Just came across it. It said, beware of Nueces County and beware of Corpus Christi. Ranked number 2 most corrupt in the U.S. of A. So I have no, I don't question whether or not my friends who say, John, if I get killed, it's because it's going to be corrupt law enforcement that are going to take me out. He's told me that a few times, that one particular friend. And I believe that. I believe, and because it's been so long ingrained in this area, I would honestly give a sincere warning that people that are thinking of relocating, don't come. Don't come. It's not a threat. I'm saying you don't know what you're getting into. I used to not like the stereotypes of the South. Okay? I have a lot of friends still in the Northeast, and they used to say Texas is, but this far south, you haven't. All the stereotypes of the redneck courts, it's all true here. Okay? Sadly, I've got to tell you, it's all true. My friend Albert, an officer told him that, I'm going to make you disappear. And Albert said, are you threatening to kill me? And I guess he was. And the guys were threatening my friend Albert that you, and some of those guys, because they've had all these experiences, their immediate response whenever is, I won't give particular names, but they say CCPD is a joke. That's what they say. Now I don't take that as a joke. I take it as looking somebody that's been in, supervisoring things and all, and I recognize over time that it's out of hand. It's out of hand for it to have been that open and that commonplace. Now I know I've seen more of it because of many years with the street guys, but it's out of hand. And so when I see the problem with the money in our community, and I know that they always look at, public safety, the two biggest expenses really are the fire and cop salary, and it even makes me more upset to the point where you're not getting your money's worth. Any department that has knowledge that video is shut off, but the internal affairs guy that was there 6 years ago at Williams, and when I was mad that day about the dumping thing, but I said, you got cops in Flower Bluff. I said, because I work with the street. I said, they were involved in everything. Every criminal, the words I remember, I said, they were involved in every criminal activity under the sun. Now, I hope you didn't misunderstand the response he gave me. It wasn't like, it was like, what else can you, besides the things that the few I mentioned about confiscating the guns illegally, taking that and all these, but he knew. And he also knew in a sense of like a concern, like we cannot stop it. Organizations, it's not an accident that law enforcement organizations are more prone to criminality and corruption. And here, I believe it's higher rate. I believe we're number one in the U.S. for criminality and corruption, and for a frankly unsafe city. I've heard, there's so many times I've heard gunshots. We had the official drive-by on our block, 6 months ago. It's so commonplace. We had a couple of killings that I didn't even talk about those last year. It's very commonplace. I think the effect of the stuff you hear me talk about in the courts and all these things, I think that has an effect. So, I can't recount every story. But it was the blatantness. And I thought, how could you? Don't you see? You can't be doing that stuff. So I'll end. This should be the last one. I don't think I'll add another link or particular post. Yesterday I did that. My phone, things of that nature. People have tried to stop the videos, okay? Whether it's the laptop, spyware, which I have not seen, spyware, my computer doesn't get stuff like that. And yesterday it had it when I started talking on issues like this. And of course that's why I have all those sites. That's why I did those links yesterday, just to get them all out in time. Um, I would just say if you're here, if you're stuck in this city, the A&M University my daughters went to, I would suggest if you're a parent and you say, you know, that looks like a nice, I wouldn't send your kids here. I wouldn't send your kids to Corpus Christi. If they're already here, make the best of it. You say, maybe we're going to relocate for this. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Some of the people that are aware of all this stuff that I speak out on, they navigate it. I had a professor at Coffee Waves once. I remember many years ago, and he asked, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm working on my website. This is years ago. And I said, I also do, like, I speak out on social justice, like about the cop abuse. He said, oh, don't do that here. And he was an older Hispanic man. He said, no, this is different here. So I'm going to tell you, none of this shit is made up. None of this shit is made up. You have felony crimes committed. Particularly a lot of the assaults, choking out, then the ones that Pat died in the vehicles and all that with the history we had here. You know, asthma, come on, you had marks. People said I'm gonna kill you, saying it in the fucking cop car. Asthma. I think, you know, you gotta be kidding people in this part of the country. Okay? You really have to be kidding. Yeah, I would say that the chief should, you gotta get somebody from outside. Whether Mr. Markle he came up in the ranks here. He knows about all this, okay? Often in the department, you know, at Firehouse, you know, there were some guys that, oh, he's gonna not be good. Like, call him sick all the time. Good. So Markle, because he was here his whole life, from what I understand, they know. They know even the stuff I said that might have sounded strange to you. They know, yeah, he's known for that. I remember people telling me, oh yeah, that cop's a player. He plays, but just people that are not even my homeless friends. Like, how could it be so open? Well, that's the way it is here. I'm like, you kidding me? Are you kidding? You know, I'd say to myself. And we had these cases of that one cop, famous case, Holsclaw, because people wanted it privileged. He would have particularly female prostitutes give him oral sex. That was like a way they know these people are on the street. And so you can get away with that. That's not up there. But it was like, and that affected me when I heard that one. I'm like, and I didn't judge for the, you know, the thing I was mad at is, look, you're in official capacity. You're doing that shit in a cop car with the same type of people that you've abused, threatened, said if we ever see you in town again, you regret. And then I watch your local media. And I'm glad that we praise the young rookies, whether fire or police. I'm glad. And when I see all this stuff for so long, I'm like, that's affecting this thing. That's affecting this thing. So I'm going to rank it. Corpus Christi has now got the #1 ranking for the most dangerous, for the size, corrupt city in the US of A. And if I added another post, I would give you that. That would be the title.